6 out of 10 falls happen inside your own home. Not on icy sidewalks, not on hiking trails. Inside the rooms you walk through every single day. And here's the part most people don't realize. Falling once doubles your chances of falling again. In Germany alone, this cascade costs 2.5 billion euros yearly, with 70% of these falls happening in living rooms or kitchens. But there are also 7 specific routines that cut your risk by up to 30%, and most take less than 5 minutes to implement. The National Institute on Aging confirms 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls annually. In Germany, that figure rises to 1 in 3, driving over 150,000 hip fractures every year among those 60 and older. But the real shock isn't how many fall, it's where the solution has been hiding all along. Austrian health authorities documented similar patterns in Vienna, where hospital admissions for fall-related injuries peaked during winter months of 2023, yet indoor incidents outnumbered outdoor falls 3-to-1 even during icy conditions. Consider what that 2.5 billion euros actually represents. It's not abstract bureaucratic spending. It's emergency rooms, surgical wards, rehabilitation clinics, and long-term care facilities filled with people who just weeks earlier were living independently. German public health data shows that 70% of those incidents happen in 2 specific rooms, the living room and the kitchen. The exact spaces people consider safest. Falls are now the leading cause of fatal injuries for Germans aged 65 and older, accounting for 40% of all injury-related deaths in that group. Bonn geriatrician Clemens Becker, who has studied fall prevention since the 1990s, has repeatedly warned that the biggest threat to senior independence isn't disease, it's the bedroom rug, the wet tile, the unlit hallway. But here's the paradox that makes this crisis so difficult to solve. Once a person falls, fear sets in. That fear causes them to move less, sit more, and avoid the very activities that maintain balance, muscle strength, and coordination. Researchers at the Robert Koch Institute describe this as the post-fall syndrome, and the data is sobering. Seniors who restrict movement after a fall often decline faster than those who were injured in the first place. Muscle mass drops, bone density weakens. Confidence collapses. The cure people reach for, stillness, becomes the disease. A 2022 study tracking 800 Berlin seniors found that those who stopped their daily walking routine after a minor fall lost 12% of leg strength within just 6 weeks. Now, what research reveals next challenges everything most people assume about prevention. Title: Ground Zero, the Bathroom Battleground. Walk into any emergency room in Boston, Phoenix, or Cleveland on a weekday morning, and a pattern becomes obvious. The bathroom is ground zero. Water meets smooth ceramic. Bare feet meet polished tile. Low toilets force awkward transitions from sitting to standing. Bathtubs demand a high, unbalanced step over a slick rim. For seniors, this 8-square-meter room contains more fall hazards per square foot than any other space in the house. The fix costs $200 and takes 1 afternoon. DACH region studies consistently show that installing grab bars beside the toilet and inside the shower prevents 30 to 50% of indoor falls. The total cost? Under $200. The installation time? Under an afternoon. A single visit from a handyman can meaningfully reduce the risk of a hip fracture that would otherwise cost tens of thousands in surgery and rehabilitation. Swiss researchers extended this analysis across entire homes and found that systematic room-by-room modifications reduce fall incidence by 25% overall. That includes replacing loose bath mats with textured, suction-backed alternatives, adding non-slip strips to tub floors, installing a shower seat, and raising toilet height by 2 to 4 inches using a commode frame or replacement unit. Each change costs under $20. Together, they cut fall risk by 25%. Cultural factors in German-speaking countries make these modifications especially urgent. Many seniors live in pre-war apartment buildings with narrow staircases, no elevators, and bathrooms originally designed in the 1950s. Aging in place isn't a lifestyle preference there, it's the default. A 2024 survey by the German Center of Gerontology found that 93% of seniors wanted to remain in their current home until end of life, but fewer than 20% had made any structural safety modifications. That gap between intention and action is where most falls happen, and the research ties directly back to the setup. 6 out of 10 senior falls happen at home, but within that statistic, the bathroom dominates. Water, smooth surfaces, and awkward postures combine into what geriatricians sometimes call the perfect storm of gravity. A grab bar changes that equation. So does a nightlight beside the toilet, a lever-style faucet instead of a round knob, and a shower with a curbless entry. Hamburg occupational therapist Maria Schneider, who has consulted on over 400 home assessments since 2018, reports that clients who install bathroom grab bars report immediate confidence gains. These aren't luxury upgrades. They're the architectural equivalent of a seatbelt. But this single room fix is just the beginning. The next routine protects something even more valuable than bones. Here's the twist that changes the entire prevention conversation. Exercise doesn't just reduce fall risk, it rewires the brain. Research published in Aging Clinical and Experimental Research documented that seniors performing regular balance and strength activities cut their fall risk by up to 30%. Not a marginal improvement. Nearly a third of falls, eliminated through movement alone. The routines involved aren't extreme. Standing on one leg while holding a kitchen counter. Rising from a chair 10 times without using hands. Walking heel to toe along an imaginary line for 30 seconds. Practiced 3 to 4 times weekly, these exercises rebuild the neuromuscular pathways that deteriorate silently after age 60. The deeper revelation came from Austria. Researchers at the Medical University of Graz found that heel-to-toe walking, a staple of physical therapy, produced cognitive benefits comparable to some dementia medications. The mechanism involves the cerebellum, which coordinates balance and also plays a role in executive function. Challenging the balance system apparently stimulates neural plasticity across multiple brain regions simultaneously. Seniors performing these exercises 3 times a week showed measurable improvements in memory, attention, and processing speed. The bones are protected. The brain is protected. One routine, 2 organ systems defended at once. Then came the Swiss data that contradicted a long-standing assumption. Most people picture the typical fall victim as an elderly woman, perhaps frail, perhaps living alone. But researchers tracking indoor falls across Switzerland discovered that men over 60 fall more often inside their homes than women do. The reason isn't physiological, it's behavioral. Men in that age group are significantly more likely to climb ladders to change light bulbs, stand on chairs to reach high shelves, skip grab bars, refuse walking aids, and underestimate the effect of a single glass of wine on balance. Overconfidence kills coordination. Tai Chi, studied extensively by the Robert Koch Institute and Swiss geriatric clinics, reduces fall risk by 20 to 30% through slow, weight-shifting movements that train proprioception, the body's sense of its own position in space. A weekly 90-minute class, or even 15 minutes of daily practice at home using a free online video, delivers measurable protection within 12 weeks. Balance isn't a fixed trait. It's a trainable skill that responds to stimulus at any age. Prevention matters, but knowing how to fall safely matters equally. Physical therapists teach a specific technique that reduces injury severity by up to 50% when a fall becomes unavoidable. Instinct is often wrong. When the floor disappears beneath someone's feet, the body reacts in milliseconds, throwing hands forward to break the impact. It feels protective, it feels automatic. But German physical therapists and Austrian trauma surgeons have spent years trying to teach seniors the opposite response. The human wrist can handle roughly 195 pounds of force before fracturing. The average adult body in motion generates 2 to 3 times that force during a fall. The math is brutal. Hands cannot support body weight during a fall, and extending them transfers impact directly into the wrists, forearms, elbows, and shoulders, often while the head continues forward and strikes the ground anyway. The counterintuitive guidance taught in fall recovery programs across the DACH region is this: if a fall becomes unavoidable, fall backward, not forward. Tuck the chin toward the chest to protect the skull. Let the buttocks and the padded muscles of the thighs absorb the impact. Keep arms close to the body, elbows bent, rather than locked and extended. The gluteal muscles and pelvis are the body's natural shock absorbers. They were designed for impact. Wrists were not. This matters because 20 to 30% of senior falls result in moderate to severe injuries, cuts requiring stitches, broken hips, head trauma, or concussions. In Germany, 28% of falls lead to long-term mobility loss. That single fall in that single second can end independence. Rehearsing a controlled fall sounds morbid, but physical therapists in Vienna routinely use soft mats to teach seniors how to descend safely. The motion mirrors the back roll taught in judo. Drop the hips, round the spine, roll with the momentum rather than resisting it. Participants practicing this technique quarterly showed dramatically lower injury severity when real falls occurred. Austria documents over 30,000 fall-related hospitalizations annually for seniors aged 60 and up, the majority happening at home. A significant portion of those hospitalizations involve injuries that proper fall mechanics could have reduced. The second critical element is what happens after landing. Seniors who fall and cannot get up face secondary risks: hypothermia on cold tile floors, pressure injuries, dehydration, pneumonia from prolonged immobility. Emergency pendants, smartphone fall detection features on modern Apple Watches and Android devices, and voice-activated home assistants all provide lifelines, yet adoption among seniors living alone remains inconsistent. The technology exists. The habit of wearing it does not. But the most powerful prevention tools aren't exercises or techniques. They're hiding in plain sight in every room. Title: The Low-Tech Arsenal. Hiding in plain sight. A $15 nightlight prevents 15% of nighttime falls in U.S. households, according to federal health data. A strip of double-sided carpet tape securing a runner to the floor. Non-slip socks with rubberized soles instead of loose slippers. A clear pathway from bed to bathroom with no cords, magazines, or pet beds in the way. A chair in the entryway for putting on shoes while seated rather than standing on one leg. Cost, in total, under $50. Impact, measurable and immediate. Meanwhile, U.S. researchers are developing the next generation of fall prevention. AI-integrated smart home sensors, floor mats that detect gait changes, cameras that recognize unsteady movement, wearables that predict falls hours before they happen, are projected to reduce senior falls by 40% by 2030. Pilot programs in nursing facilities during 2023 demonstrated that predictive wearables issued alerts an average of 4 hours before balance-related incidents occurred. This circles back to the original question of where 6 out of 10 senior falls happen: home. Which means home is also where the solution lives. Whether the tools are a $10 grab bar or a $1,000 sensor array, the location is the same. American seniors overwhelmingly prefer aging in place, and that preference makes systematic room-by-room safety routines not a luxury, but a structural necessity. The data reveals one pattern: home is both the problem and the solution. And here's the turning point the entire conversation has been building toward. The solution to senior falls isn't institutional care. It isn't hospital beds or nursing homes. It's a grab bar, a nightlight, a balance routine, a cleared hallway. Systematic home modifications, not medical interventions, determine whether a person spends their 80s at home or in assisted living. Recall the cascading risk: one fall doubles the chance of another, and independence can vanish within months. These routines aren't optional maintenance. They're the architecture of autonomy. The choice between these two futures starts with a single modification today. Zurich gerontologist Hans Weber tracked 300 seniors over 5 years and found that those who implemented 3 or more home safety changes maintained independent living status 80% longer than those who made no modifications. The difference wasn't medication or genetics, it was environment. Start with one room, one grab bar, one nightlight, one balance exercise. Independence isn't luck, it's a system built one routine at a time. Continue with the Healthy Aging Mastery playlist, your complete guide to staying strong, steady, and independent. This is educational information, not medical advice.